So let's look ahead to the weekend and get Cole Thompson's best bets.
Place your bets.
College football is back, and so is our favorite Friday section, Best Bets, 800-224-2004. Let's put a little bit of money in your pocket this weekend as we head into Labor Day, where games galore will be filling your television screens nonstop. So usually how we do this is we do 5 bets in college football, 5 bets in the NFL. This season, it's going to be a little bit different. On Fridays, I'm going to give you every single pick thanks to our new sponsorship with Splash Sports. Want to make sure that we give them a shout out. We're going to go do 2 best bets every single Friday. But the first one is always going to be college football. The second one, always going to be NFL. There is no NFL this weekend, so let's go ahead and give you only the college football ones. Starting off with Louisville versus Georgia Tech. This is a really intriguing game. The return of Jeff Brom, the pride of the Cardinals as the new head coach for this team. A lot of people buying into the hype of what the Cardinals could be in 2023. I'm one of them. I wouldn't be shocked to see Louisville find their way into Charlotte by getting enough quality wins at the right time and beating up on their opponent. Georgia Tech, they keep Brent Key as the head coach, but they have a brand new quarterback coming in, Haynes King, the transfer from Texas A&M. At the same time, Louisville gets a quarterback, Jack Plummer, last season spent a little bit of time at Cal, but he reunites with Jeff Brom in Louisville. I think this is a low-scoring matchup. I think that you're not going to see either offense really take flight in this game. The line is set at over-under 48.5 points. Give me the under on this one. I think neither team really finds its offensive rhythm. This will be a defensive bout for most of the first half. I think Louisville ends up winning this game, but I wouldn't be shocked to see it be a 17-14 finish. Number 2, Ohio State versus Indiana. Neither Kyle McCord or Devin Brown has guaranteed won the starting job for the remainder of the season. Yes, Kyle McCord, the veteran, the guy who's been around the block, is going to start against the Hoosiers. But you heard Ryan Day. I'm going to allow Devin Brown to see reps. And if he ends up starting to play a little bit better, maybe we'll move into week 2 when we face off against Youngstown State with the guy who looks like Slinging Sammy Baugh. That could be the way that we build this organization and how we kind of decide which quarterback is the right option. And you know what? It's not the worst thing possible. Michigan did this last year with J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. And eventually what happened was they realized we have a better shot of winning with J.J. Thanks so much for leading us to the college football playoff last year, Cade. But we're going to run it with the younger gun. Maybe that's what happens. Either way, Indiana is still a dumpster fire of a program. They haven't been able to find any bit of that 2020 magic underneath Tom Allen. I know this game is in Bloomington. I know you're implementing a brand new quarterback, but look at the weaponry. Emi Akeba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cade Stover's back at tight end. Julian Fleming might be the best wide receiver number 4 in the country. You still have a good rushing attack. I think that Ohio State easily coasts their way to at least a 30-point victory. The line is set at 30.5. Go ahead and give me the Buckeyes in this matchup. Next up, North Carolina versus South Carolina in the Queen City of Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium is going to be rocking and rolling. College football, college game day, ESPN going to be there for the matchup. Really intriguing in my opinion, because take Drake May and put him with Shane Beamer in Dow Loggins' offense. With the same receiving core, with the same defense, with the same rushing attack, same offensive line, you're probably talking about South Carolina as a guaranteed top 15 team in the country, just because of what they bring back in terms of veteran talent, what they bring back in terms of skill set, and who they have as their head coach. But because he plays at North Carolina, the Tar Heels are actually favored in this game. I don't understand why. They have flaws defensively. They're still one of the worst units in terms of defensive returning production. They still have question marks on the offensive line. You lose your number 1 receiver in Josh Downs, and you kind of have a more rapport with what you know on the opposing side in Spencer Rattler. I don't think Spencer Rattler is a better quarterback than Drake May. I think South Carolina is a better team than North Carolina. And no matter what, the Carolinas win this weekend, but I'm going to go ahead and take actually South Carolina at +2.5. Go ahead and get the Gamecocks rolling very early on in the season. And they have a fun matchup in week 3, a major upset that I'm already calling. Number 4, Texas Tech versus Wyoming. Line is set at 14. Just 14, 2 touchdowns. Texas Tech, a lot of people buying into them. Yours truly has them going to the Big 12 title game, facing off against Texas. Joey McGuire is a really good coach. Joey McGuire also hired a really good staff. Zach Kitley, who worked with Bailey Zappi when he set the NCAA record and tied Joe Burrow for the most touchdowns all time. That guy's now running the show. They bring back Tyler Shuck at quarterback. They have a good rushing attack. They bring back 3 of the 5 starters on the offensive line. Tim DeRuyter also gets most of his defensive talent returning, and it's the Cowboys. Like, you should be able to handle yourself against Craig Bohl and the Mountain West team. I think Wyoming's actually going to be one of those teams that sneaks their way into an 8-4 finish. It's just not going to be in Lubbock week 1. The Red Raiders begin year 2 of the Joey McGuire era off with a 3-touchdown victory, so easily give me Texas Tech in this matchup. Next up, Boise State versus Washington. I'm not touching the line in the slightest. I know that Boise State is a fan favorite to go ahead and win the Mountain West. And yours truly has Washington in the college football playoff. Love what they bring back offensively. Love the defense as a whole, even though I do have questions with the secondary. Michael Penix Jr. is my pick to win the Heisman. But you can't sleep on the likes of Boise State. The Broncos are going to be bucking in Saturday's showdown. The line is set under at 58.5. Hammer the over in this one. It's going to be very high scoring. I got to be able to see what this secondary for Washington looks like. I have to be able to see how this defense is going to be able to add pressure to the backfield for the Broncos. It's going to end up, I think, being about a 48-42 type victory. Wouldn't be shocked to see over 100-point score. The triple digits rocking and rolling. Go ahead and give me the likes of Washington to win, but Boise State and Washington to beat the line. Next up, Coastal Carolina versus UCLA. Grayson McCall, I think a lot of people are forgetting about. Do you know if he ends up picking up the Sun Belt Player of the Year this season, he will go 4 straight years of taking home the hardware? The Chanticleers might end up actually being the favorite to win the Sun Belt because of who they have as their head coach in Tim Beck, who they have as their quarterback in Grayson McCall, and what they have in returning production. I think that UCLA is going to end up actually winning this game, but they are implementing a brand new quarterback in Ethan Garbers. They are missing some elements to their team. No more Zach Charbonnet in their backfield. I think that UCLA wins, but go ahead and give me the Chanticleers at plus 14.5. Next up, Ball State versus Kentucky, minus 28.5. Anybody remember the offense back in 2021 when everyone had that opinion that maybe Will Levis was something positive, that maybe the kid from Penn State could end up being a first-round pick? That was because of who the offensive coordinator was, Liam Cohen. Well, he's now back in Lexington for another go-around after spending a year with the Los Angeles Rams as their offensive coordinator. You bring in a brand new quarterback, a very sufficient and very dominant Devin Leary, who when he was on his bells and whistles, really actually was one of the more impressive QBs for NC State in the history of the sport and in the ACC. I think that even though Ball State, Testicle Tech, whatever you want to call them, is going to be a team that maybe makes some noise here or there throughout the season, this should be an easy double-digit, I would say 4-touchdown win for the Wildcats. They start their season off on the right note. Go ahead and give me Kentucky to not only cover, but also dominate against the Cardinals. Next up, Buffalo versus Wisconsin. Brand new offense implemented with Tanner Mordecai at the helm for the Badgers. The launch is what they call the spring, and they're about to launch their way into a new era of Badger football led by Luke Fickell. If you're going to implement an air raid offense, the best way to do so is by having a quarterback that knows all the nuances and the skill set of how to work it. And that's exactly what Tanner Mordecai did during his 2 years when he was at SMU. You have good receivers. You also brought in a ton of talented transfers, CJ Williams from USC being one of them. You have a top 15 defense. I think that you easily coast out to at least a double digit. I would say probably 4-touchdown win. The Badgers begin a new era on the right note. They end up getting the win and they cover the line. Next up, Auburn versus UMass. I think that UMass is going to be a terrible team once again. However, I do think that because of all the new pieces that are being implemented by Hugh Freeze, it's going to take at least a game or two for them to really hitch their stride, truly prove that they are really changing the corner, turning the new page, a new era in Auburn. So I'm going to take the Minutemen actually to beat the line at plus 35.5. Next up, UTSA versus Houston. High scoring game. Frank Harris is back for the Roadrunners. Brand new quarterback in Houston with the likes of Donovan Smith. Their jerseys are fire. The new Houston Oilers jerseys, gotta love them. But I do think that this will be a high scoring game. So go ahead and I say take the over at plus 59.5. Best bet of the week. Tennessee versus Virginia. This game is going to be played in Nashville. I want to see what Joe Milton can do with this new receiving core. I think that they easily cover a 27.5. And the upset of the week. Northern Iowa takes down Iowa State at Jack Trice Stadium. FCS team.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or...
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.